Hey, did I stir the tanks? You're messing with me, man, right before we come on. Hello, everyone. You probably thought that we were done. I kind of did because
the, the
this is going
Giants are. We're
horribly,
not.
horribly wrong. It's depressing. So this is going to be a group therapy session. We're just gonna kind of let loose here. Yes, we did not cover the Bengals game. I don't even want to get into why, other than it sucked. Right, another winnable one that got away, and then there's the mess that was the Eagles game. Yeah, I just words cannot describe. Like I'll tell you this, and you I know you guys know this, but this is where wisdom with age. I have an option. I live in Florida. I go play golf when it's going bad. So listen to Papa and Banks, and I'll comment a little about their take as it was going on. But yeah, I'll say this as an opening comment about the organization. For some reason, when there is something, whether it's something they're trying to highlight within a game, like Phil Simms' retirement. Okay, his you've seen that video, him throwing the pass to LT, but do you know that was the game the Cowboys beat him 35-0, and I basically left after halftime. Like
On Monday night.
the only reason people stayed were for that. Then you go to, and I can't, what year did we host the Super Bowl? What was that? 14, 15,
2013
whatever that was.
Seahawks Broncos, right? Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
remember this, our wonderful GM at the time, Jerry Reese, put a countdown clock in spring training to the Super Bowl happening. Like put it in the locker room as a we're going to be there. And I think they shut it off in like the second week of October because we were that bad that season.
I think
So,
we started '06. I think we started
so
'06 that year.
yeah, exactly. Like
It's
I
really
think I'm not kidding.
some
I don't
painful
know if there's
losses
video
too.
of somebody ripping it off the wall, but they definitely like shut it off. And then we go to this year, our 100th season, and apparently, even though we only play 17 games, we're going to try to lose 100. So that's I think our objective. So Andrew, you had the joy of being there, spending your hard-earned money to be at that game. Talk to us about it. Let's help you get through this.
Well, to think we're also used to, usually the September games, it's a little hot. That's what you kind of prepare for. October,
Yep.
November, getting to those December games, you're
Yep.
bundled up, hypothermia's in the mix, No, in this case, got freaking sun poisoning, sat in the sun all day and watched the Giants get beat down. It was pretty
Nice.
much Lincoln Financial by halftime. Most of the stadium was filled with Eagles fans.
Yeah.
Um, the "Fly Eagles Fly" chant going the whole game kind of makes you sick to the stomach.
Yeah.
Um, the
Well,
first, it felt good to boo Saquon, and then his first run was like, a cloud of dust, and everybody was like, "All right, we might have a fighting chance." Punt here, punt there. The first quarter was, just one of
yeah.
those games where you're like, all right, this might be an ugly, low scoring affair. Okay, I can kind of deal with that.
Yeah.
And like we had talked before the show, I think everything went downhill after that Theo Johnson offensive pass interference because that was like our first successful drive. We were moving the ball, things looked good, and then I think that just took the air out of the stadium.
Was that
So
in our end zone?
yes, it
It
was.
was. Okay, so you had a
It
really
was.
good view of it.
And it was one of those instances where everyone's celebrating because of how bad everything else is going. I saw the flag right away, and everyone was like, "Why are you acting this way?" I'm like, "It's going to
Yeah.
be on us. I see what's going on." They called it in the stadium, and the stadium was deflated. Everything went downhill from there. Saquon took over. They embarrassed us in our own stadium. I left in the beginning of the fourth quarter. And like you said, I listened to Bob Papa and Carl Banks basically talk horrible about us.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yes, spent my hard-earned money to watch us get beat down in a almost 80-degree day in October, late October. So
Nice.
yeah, that was my
Nice. Nice.
experience.
Yeah, well, one of the downsides of our seats is if you stay late enough and it's a visiting team winning, all those knuckleheads just descend down, and it sucks. It sucks.
It's the cockroaches coming to the kitchen at the
Yeah,
end of the night, basically.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was, Johnson, I think, is got potential to be a good player, and it's ridiculous that call. I mean, that's tight end 101. It's a box out play. It's all you have to do. So, yeah, it was I jumped up because I'm like, Daniel Jones just threw a touchdown pass at MetLife Stadium. Like it's like
Miracles
seeing a
happen.
Yeti. It's like it's like spotting a Yeti. It's a unicorn. And nope, no, he didn't. They took it away. So, yeah, absolutely deflating, deflating. How much of it did you put up with, Steve?
I watched all of it. I did. I mean, I was flipping back and forth between the Vikings game, and I keep
That was a
comparing the
long
two
ride,
because,
but go ahead.
well,
Yeah.
I keep comparing the two in a lot of ways because I feel like there's definitely some similarities both in the patterns where when the team gets down, for some reason, I when I watch the Giants, I feel like they are so stressed to do everything perfect that the pressure is to do everything perfect in 4 to 6 yard increments. That
Yeah.
any mistake, everything goes off the rails. The potential to overcome with a surprise play the here or there, it's never there. It's never for instance, here's a for example. Just once again using the easy example is this past weekend. The Vikings were up 10-0, and I'm thinking here goes again. They're going to plow right through just like they did San Francisco, Houston, blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden they were down 11 by halftime. Like at the end of the first quarter, it's 10-0. Halftime 21-10. I'm like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
And then, but at the end, they're down 11. There's like 6 minutes to go, and the Lions have the ball, and you're thinking, they have the little thing that counts win percentage.
Oh yeah, probability.
I
Love
love
that.
tracking that probability meter because it's amazing to watch how much it changes.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and it was like 97% Lions with 6 minutes to go, and they had the ball. And then Montgomery fumbled, picked up by pace, ran back for a touchdown, and then it was literally Vikings 72% win in one play.
You're kidding.
No, it flipped entirely because they were at home, they had a better kicker, all these reasons, and it was a 2-point game at that point. And the Giants never seem to make that play when they're a team that there's some doubt. Like the Vikings they have some definitely star power on the offense especially. But the defense, there's a lot of Band-Aids going on there. A lot of older players looking for a last win kind of thing. Some young players that were late draft choices, injuries going on. But when a play needs to happen, often someone stands up. And the Giants never seem to have somebody that stands up in that moment to change the momentum.
Well, certainly not since Odell and Eli were together.
Yeah.
Like that had a change.
Yeah, I'm talking about the current iteration, like the last 3 or 4 years.
No, I know.
It just
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
seem
but
to
I'm just
happen.
giving
Yeah.
you how long it's felt
Yeah.
like. So I don't know, Drew. What did you want to add there?
I was going to say the only excitement that the fans had the whole game was when Dexter Lawrence
Yep.
and there was some type of pass rush or a sack. That's the only time we
Yeah.
cheered. The whole game was any type of Dexter Lawrence play. He literally kept some of the Giants fans interested in the game. Outside of that, it was like, what was there to cheer for? It was just horrible to watch.
What was
Yeah,
your
it's like watching
experience,
Jordan
Marcy?
his first year in the Bulls. It's like, well, he's still worth watching.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know, and the defense. I mean, it's there. If we could just score some stupid points, you just can't expect them to keep holding teams down. You just can't. That's not. It doesn't work that way, right? So eventually, they're gonna break. They're gonna be disenchanted. I mean, I'm surprised they don't want to, maybe they do, want to take some of the offensive guys in the back and knock some sense into them because yeah, it's terrible. And if I see, and I'm going to, I know I will, Daniel Jones throw one more pass 2 yards short of the first down to a guy that's got two guys on him. So it's not like he's open with space. They're always that are guys that are basically being hounded. So they're not going, like, it would take a ridiculous effort for them to break free and get those 2 or 3 yards. Like I would rather see incomplete every time with the ball get past the first down marker than the crap that we do. It's so freaking
Fruck.
frustrating.
It was
You said
Frucking.
you said frucking.
you
I
said
did say
frucking. Yes,
You
sir.
said frucking.
It's a new word.
I like it better.
That's what
It's
DJ
a
does to
therapy
me.
se-
He makes me
it's a-
fucking crazy.
It's a therapy session. Get it out.
That's
Get
right.
it out.
That's right. It's like I feel like I'm Gaylord Fokker. So he's fucking driving me crazy. Oh, man.
I don't know how 3 weeks ago we had a team that beat up on the Seahawks and looked competent and clean and made the right plays. They didn't do anything extravagant. They were just consistently decent to good throughout the game. They took advantage of the opportunity they were given, and they were able to stop momentum whenever it tried to switch. And it still ended up being a little more dicey than it should have been, but ultimately, they played a good, competent game. I didn't look at that game and think this is a team devoid of talent and heart. But this last two games, that's all I feel like. This team is devoid of talent and heart. And I know that's not true, but that's how they played Sunday.
Yeah. Chime in here, pal. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling? How can we help you get through this?
I don't know.
Do you want us to find a way to draft Arch already? Is that where we're at? Like, let's just.
I just want anyone that is not Daniel Jones. It feels like you ever I don't know. Yeah, sure. Did we mess up a couple of seasons early on with him? Sure, whatever. But now, ever since Mara said, "Oh, well, we kind of messed him up," like, no, that happens. Like, you kind of just got to move on with it. Like, look at the Jets; they kicked Zach Wilson out the door after 3 years. Like, why do other teams have no issue?
Or Rosen, he was the number 2 pick.
I think he was 10. He was 10,
and
then they kicked him out the following year for Kyler. Like, just immediately thought, nope, this is not it. We're just gonna move on.
Reset.
And it's crazy.
Yeah, part of the problem was he had that ridiculously perfectly timed 9-7 in one season with a playoff win when he was up on a contract, and it gave you that. Because it's happened, right? There's usually a progression with these things. And when a guy gets over that hurdle, you think, okay, he's now
here's my counter argument. Yeah. So Shane was in Buffalo with Brandon Beane when they took over. Their first year, they made the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor as the starting quarterback. The following year, they kicked Tyrod out of the door, or they didn't care, and they tanked, basically. And the following year, they get Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And it's like, they were willing to just go, hey, we kind of did a miracle thing here. We're not really that good. We should kind of just let this ride out and get a quarterback when we can.
And I think Eli put the Kavorka on Daniel Jones, especially with this being his Hall of Fame year. Because boy, is Eli's candidacy just looking better and better. Yeah. Like when you look at who we were with it, like one of my favorite Twitter is the Big Blue VCR. I love that guy, and it's just so nostalgic because he put so much Eli stuff on, like the thing that it was you said it right, Lucas. Now when was that made? That Kelsey Grammer poem, because that was awesome. The Eli
that I sent today.
I
sent it today. Yeah, I don't know when that was made. I just saw it pop up on NFL Films, and I was like, "This is hilarious."
It was beautiful, and it's so. What's funny is I'll go to my Facebook memories today, because most of my Facebook memories, especially this time of year, are I'm at a game, I just came from a game, that kind of stuff. And let's see, this one I think it was from a 2012 game. But it said, hold on, where is it? My comment was, let's see. I thought it was like, Eli, you pulled out another one. I'm enjoying I'm going to enjoy every moment of your career. It was prophetic. Like, just, and not to say that he didn't drive us crazy, but just go back and, I'm looking at our record, since 2012, right? Since 2011, since we won our last Super Bowl. And I mean, it's 10 losses, 13 losses, 11 losses, 12 losses, 10 losses, 13 losses, 14 losses. It's insanely bad. Insanely bad. Like, you guys, I feel bad for you because now this has been a good portion of your lives has been this. Not that you didn't get 2 great Super Bowls, but like Steve and I grew up and this stuff was happening when we were growing up. And then it got good from 81 to 2011. So 30 years, not that we didn't have some down years.
We had hope most of the time.
Yeah, you could say we were almost like the Steelers have been, where any year they're going to kind of pull it together, right? The right mix is going to come. They're not going to just be like 2-14 or something. It's so demoralizing because you go, how are we ever coming out of this? It just seems to be such a cultural thing now. I don't know how we come out of it.
So
the Lions,
that's
the Lions still have never made a Super Bowl, so
yeah,
the Vikings haven't either, right?
Yeah,
the Vikings haven't made it either,
right?
4
Super Bowls.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought they never made it. Yeah.
See, they were the first.
We were the first team to lose 4.
It was before my time, I guess.
Oh,
yes.
They lost. What was it? 4 of the first 11, I want to say.
They lost 4 Super Bowls, all in the 70s.
Yeah, think about
it. Of the 10, they were in 4 of them.
Wow.
Favored in 3 of them and lost them all.
Yeah.
Wow.
2 of them, they were the second team to lose to an AFL team before the merger.
That's right.
They lost to the Chiefs.
They were like the original Bills. They just didn't
matriculate down the field.
That's right.
Okay.
Matriculate down the field. Remember, it was what's his name? That coach,
Hank Stram.
Hank Stram.
Yeah.
Just keep matriculating down the field.
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess my lifetime they've been an exciting team, but never they could never get over the hump. So
no, the Vikings are often there. I mean, if you look at them, they have the highest winning percentage of any team that's never won a Super Bowl. They have the most. I think they have the most playoff wins of any team that's ever not won a Super Bowl. I mean, it's insane how good they are to never win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's not like the Lions.
The Lions career.
Yeah, the Caps.
But they have the distinction of, I guess 2 of the most, well, I guess 3 of the most painful losses. One of them was again the Randy Moss. Was it 98? Was it 98?
When Morton Anderson missed,
ridiculous, and their kicker had not missed a kick all year. All year, and he missed 1, and that was it.
Yep.
But they're also the home of the first Hail Mary. That actually happened in Minnesota. That
was the Cowboys,
Drew Pearson.
Right?
In the playoffs, Roger Staubach with Drew Pearson, but that happened in Minnesota. They don't see it that way. They don't call it the Hail Mary.
Yeah, Roger Staubach called it that because he said, "I threw it in the air and I said a Hail Mary." That's how I got the name. A very Catholic dude.
Yeah. So did you witness any Saquon jersey burnings, Drew, or was that just?
I was only made aware from our text messages and Lucas making it aware, but I did see a funny interview after the game with Saquon, and they asked him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I know people burn my jersey, but walking in a stadium and seeing ceremonies and black clouds and stuff, I'm like, wow, it's gotten out of hand." But
but I think, and again, though, the kid showed his class. This is why, it's hard for me not to root for him.
Yeah.
Did you see the video of him sitting on the bench? And I think it's Sirianni goes up to him and says, "Hey, do you want your record? You're only was he 17 yards short or something?"
13,
I think he said 13.
Yeah. And he said, "No, I'm not going back.
Let the young guys eat."
Yeah.
That's class, man. That's class. So I saw him and Tommy Cutlets had quite the hug afterwards too.
Yeah,
it was a long hug.
One of the things that I don't understand in regards to letting Saquon go, and I didn't voice this when we talked about it the first go around before season, but you let Saquon go because he's not worth the money based on where you are as a franchise to improve and possibly make the playoffs. I do get that logic within a certain parameter. I still think you bring him back, but I can understand that mentality. But here's the problem I have. But you stick with Jones to find out what you have, knowing that he's probably the reason that you're not going to get better. So that's where you lose me. It's I understand it would have been a big hit, but why not take a big hit in a down year anyway, and then rebuild properly next year? If you're going to get rid of Saquon, get rid of Jones too, and Start over. Pick up somebody like freaking
I think
Darnold or something like that.
I think they have too much. They have too much pride in the contract that they gave him to admit that they messed up, and I think that's where it comes into play. We talked about it before the show, and it's bugging the ever living crap out of me. Why Dayball keeps insisting that Daniel Jones is his best chance to win? If my job was on the line, if my 9 to 5, if I wasn't doing my job the best and I needed to make a change so I didn't get fired, I'm changing something to get a spark. And in this instance, Dayball's he's on the hot seat. He's got to make a change. But for him to go to the media after every game and they ask him every time, is Daniel Jones going to be your starter? He goes, yes, he's our best chance to win. I just can't look at the guy and take him seriously anymore because all of America can sit there and tell you that any other quarterback can give us a better chance than Daniel Jones right now.
Well, and I don't, and if your visibility of talent is so poor that someone who's only thrown one touchdown at home out of what, 4 games? 3? 4?
He hasn't thrown any.
Zero.
Zero. At home, zero.
He hasn't thrown a home touchdown in 2 years.
And he's your best chance of winning. You don't know anything about talent. It's not even like being loyal. It's like we're all seeing this. You're seeing this, and you still can't recognize that the myriad of people who would be better, like frickin' pick up Josh Dobbs. Who knows? You know what I mean? He came in and did some fun things.
I wanted Jameis. Jameis would have been fun. Yeah. It's too late now because Deshaun went down. It's too late now.
Well, and that was despicable. The fans cheering that. You deserve it.
It was messed up.
Fans, that was despicable.
That was messed up,
man. That's a man who's injured.
It came out that video was dubbed over. They didn't do that, so someone dubbed that over.
Wasn't real. Okay.
But they were cheering when he got hurt.
But the chant was fake.
Yeah.
The chant was fake. They were cheering, which is still pretty messed up. But
here's our Daniel Jones frucked up stat of the week. That in MetLife Stadium. 20 QBs and 16 NHL players have scored more points than Daniel Jones at MetLife Stadium because they've had multiple Winter Classics there.
Wow.
Think about that, right?
But you made this point, though, a bunch of times. To keep a fan base around, we've been horrible at home. People spend their hard-earned money.
Yeah.
Season ticket holders, people in New York, they have so much anywhere. It's
terrible.
It's the fact that the home product is so bad. It just doesn't make sense to me how they just keep going through this cycle.
Burn MetLife to the ground.
That's what we should burn. Not Saquon jerseys. We should be burning MetLife.
They should burn the stadium.
The AC unit needs to malfunction and burn to the ground.
We'll play at Rutgers for a couple years, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like we'll deal with it.
Back to the Yale Bowl.
So. We'll play in Yankee Stadium. Who cares? Like
put a stadium in Long Island. I'll be a lot better about it.
I tell you, it's frustrating. Well, what's funny is we got the clash of two worlds because at least Lucas and I are going to the game next week. It's an away game, so we have a chance, but it's in prime time, so we have no chance. So it's kind of two worlds colliding.
We might see a record get set. TJ Watt might set records against us. We could see a generational game.
TJ Watt, he is coming off the right side, and Illuminor's still playing pretty good. So that is my only hope. Yeah. If they put him on the other side,
they don't. He only plays one side.
Good night.
Highsmith might have a career game though. He's pretty good too.
I truly can't believe how long you can have a bad offensive line. Like, that is astounding.
Look how important Andrew Thomas was. He goes down. Before Andrew Thomas goes down, our line is solid. It's a top 15 line. He goes down, and we're back to a year or two ago where we're going, holy shit, this guy can't do anything.
Jones is going to get killed.
Exactly.
And this is going back to with the whole Dayball and even Shane thing, hot seat stuff. This is where I struggle too because that change doesn't improve things. Like it just means we're setting ourselves back again for 2 or 3 more years to see how that plays out. And when I look at like the stability the Steelers have had with 3 freaking coaches over 60 years, I go, do you believe enough in Dayball and Shane to give them, say, 5 years to really cleanse, because Jones wasn't their guy, right? They did sign him for the extension, so they do have to own that. But I don't know if we keep changing horses, and I wonder if there's something to that where Dable doesn't feel the threat of being fired, and so they're letting Jones play out just because they kind of have to because of his contract, just to see if because they're trying to get trade value for him or something, right? I mean,
but who would want him?
No one.
Who would want him? Someone threw out to me. I saw the reports of the possible Matthew Stafford rumor. I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all, but who's going to take Daniel Jones in return? Who wants that?
I don't know.
I would take it in a heartbeat. Bring me Matthew Stafford. Please.
100%.
I'll take it. I saw
the Vikings rumor that it would be Stafford for Darnold. I saw that today. That was a cool one. We'll talk about that later since we're just doing the Giants. We'll talk about that after. But
expand on that.
Go ahead.
I heard a rumor of
people there was lots of scuttle that Cooper Kupp and Stafford are on the block because the Rams are been really injured and not really competing this year. So they were like, well, what if we trade Stafford to the Vikings, who it would be the same system because Kevin O'Connell was the OC for the Rams. You'd already you just insert him instead of Darnold.
Wow.
You send Darnold to the Rams, who then could sign an extension with the Rams because he's proved that he can do that. But I'd rather have Stafford than Darnold. And then the Vikings
McCarthy comes in next year.
Yeah,
so it would be a 1-year rental, and I think Stafford would be okay with that.
And Stafford would be able to teach McCarthy way more than Darnold would. Stafford's won a Super Bowl. He's played a long time. He's a better mentor than McCarthy. That was a fun fan fiction. That was fun. And then the Lions fans would go insane knowing that
would be a whole other level.
Totally.
That would be fantastic.
He is the starting quarterback of the Vikings. That was a fun one.
Especially if they're on a playoff collision course, right?
Yeah.
Down the road, because you could see that happening. I mean, they're both, teams that are doing well and have that kind of, and what's funny is, and depressing as all get out, because they've changed their culture somehow, is the commies are by far the class of our division right now. By far.
They keep playing bad teams. They keep playing bad teams.
They put in my boy Marcus Mariota. He looked just as good as JV.
He did too.
Yeah, it's the system. It's Cliff finally figured it out. It's one of those. So I would say
that brings up a good topic, though. Who do we think's on the chopping block for the Giants? I've heard Darius Slayton's name get thrown around a lot.
Slay's gone. Aziz
has been, I mean, he's been playing well.
That's going to up his trade value. We might get like a fourth round pick for either one of them.
Yeah.
The Chiefs have no receivers. They could use someone.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm blow it up at this point. I've reached that point. Do it again.
Does that include like Dex, and does that include
no? Because Dex is in year one of the extension.
I used to be Dex and Andrew Thomas, but Andrew Thomas hasn't played many games the past 2 seasons. Yeah, I love when he plays, but
what about Tibbs?
Guy has to play. Tibbs, it depends.
He's hurt. No one's going to trade for him because he's not going to come. But
it depends.
Dex has 3 more years after this, and he's arguably the defensive player of the year. As of right now, he's leading the NFL in sacks as a nose tackle.
Yeah.
So I think if someone's going to get,
we're wasting his career. He
would be an all-time Giants defender already at this point. He would be starting on that D line.
Definitely better than some of our kickers.
Was he in the
No, he was not. But he was not. After this year, he immediately put him in the top 30, especially when he's defensive player of the year.
I need to do a revision.
Yeah, like hey,
after the season.
I think we can go with one less kicker. Yeah, one less kicker.
One less kicker. Yeah, one of the kickers got him down, and then Burns.
That could be the whole month. That could be the whole theme for the next 100. One less kicker.
Burns is certainly finding his groove, because he's doing it without Thibodeau in there, and he's still getting up the field well. So I agree. He's impressed me the last couple of games, and I guess when you are, there's a certain thing about the NFL where guys are going to play hard because they are auditioning too. So I mean, the offense has got to be so demoralized because they have to rely on Jones, but the defense is going to try to eat, right? They're just going to still go after it. So I give us a shot to be entertaining defensively. But I mean, we just cannot score any points.
Like Monday, it'll be Dex our best hope is Dex breaks Russ in half. I guess I don't know. Like if he lands on him, that might happen.
Well,
340.
I want to see them stand next to each other. That would be a hilarious picture.
If we have Deontay Banks, who's been quitting on plays in the middle of NFL
this
games,
guy.
covering George Pickens, we're in for a long night. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the film, but there was a play where Jalen Hurts was scrambling, and he literally could have tackled him and just let him run on by, and you can see our defensive back coach looking at him like, "What the hell are you doing, man? You're a professional athlete, and you're showing stuff that you see in Little League football."
And I've been hearing it's the first, like, it's him and Neil. Just people are saying Neil, like, he didn't rehab right, and that's why they're just not giving him a chance. And it's like, how did you not vet these guys to know when you're going to draft them in the first round, how they're going to behave when push comes up? Because guess who we're going to see on Monday? Oh, Joey Porter Jr., who we could have drafted instead of Deontay Banks, and he looks awesome in Pittsburgh. The first two drafts for Shane, not good. This is the first draft, actually, that I think all the picks are doing well, actually.
Phillips has impressed me.
Phillips awesome.
Yeah.
He's going to be good for a while.
He's going to be very good for us for a long time.
Yeah, I like Phillips a lot. He's
any good safety we get, though, I'm afraid I'm getting injured because that's what happens.
Newbin's been pretty good. And honestly, all 6 of our picks this year have been playing, and they've actually been doing well. So I don't have a complaint about this draft class.
Well, and that's kind of why I go with giving Shane some more rope here. But they have to figure out the quarterback problem. They just have to. I'd rather, and I don't know who it would be without really looking into it. But there's this. It's funny. There's these guys that are doing it for other teams. Darnold, Mayfield,
Joe Flacco.
Guys,
give me Joe Flacco, please.
Geno Smith, like these guys that were highly touted that didn't pan out as draft picks. They went the more normal thing that used to happen when we were growing up and developed with experience, but not with a team that took the risk on them. I want to find one of those guys. Like Kerry Collins was that for us. He was awesome for us. He had a solid career at Carolina. Then he had a rebirth with us, and he was a very solid quarterback.
Well, here's something. Let's not forget that Darnold and Mayfield were in the same draft.
Same draft, yeah.
And they say 4 or 5 years in is usually when a quarterback back in the day would start to hit their stride. Both of them are in year 6. They're the top 2 quarterbacks in touchdowns through the first 5 weeks. Not so much the last 2, is a little bumps here and there, but the first 5 weeks they were number 1 and number 2 in touchdowns.
And was Goff the year before or the year after?
Goff was 2 years before. Goff was 2016.
Okay, because he's another one. Like the Rams gave up.
Yeah,
on
they cast him aside, said let's get the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they basically gave him away.
Well, his
first round picks.
His 3-game stretch is literally the best 3-game stretch in the history of the NFL for a quarterback.
Yeah.
He's been insane.
He's got 3 games in a row with a quarterback rating of over 140. Yeah. He's had 7 incompletes combined in the last 3 games. Combined.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And
the Vikings only lost by 2. I'm like going, you know what? I will take that. Right now, they got a quarterback who's lighting it up. Losing by 2 to those guys, I'm all right with it. It shows that the Lions are really, really good, and it shows that the Vikings are as good as advertised.
Yeah.
And
you know what I mean?
That kicker is a great story, too, for the Lions. I mean, that's a crazy story, too.
Yeah.
So, again, you root for stuff like that. So are we going to change this to like a Viking show?
I'm out. I'm in. I'm all in on the Vikings now. You know what? This is about to be.
I got a purple shirt I could wear. I
think my agent.
Just to go back to the Giants and restart the entire organization again. They have done that 5 times in the last 8 years.
Yeah, that's my point.
They've had 5 new coaches with new everything in the last 8 years. Never, ever, ever going to improve having to relearn an entire system every couple of years.
I'll throw in just like a wish and a hope. I'm not a fan. He's historically one of the greatest coaches ever. He definitely has a certain way of coaching and how he runs a team and whatnot. But I think we need it, and I know you're probably going to know who I'm going to say here, but we might need to call up our old friend Bill.
Yeah.
Bring in old Bill.
Nope.
And
Nope.
and
Nope.
I hate to say it,
Nope.
I think that's what the
Nope.
Giants need.
Nope.
I
No,
think
I-
we
no.
need Drill Sergeant Bill
No.
to come
No.
on in,
I would take
clean
Rabel.
it on up, and I'm talking.
Vrabel? Interesting.
I would take
Well,
Rabel. I would
maybe-
not take Bill.
Maybe Belichick GM and Vrabel.
No,
I
Belichick
think
is
you
terrible.
guys should
GM.
take Flores, the
No,
D
too
coordinator
many
from the
lawsuits.
Vikings.
Too many lawsuits.
we already,
it's the
we
wrong
already pissed
buy-in.
him off.
Yeah,
We
too many
already
No,
pissed
but
him off.
I'm telling you, I think he's going to be a heck of a coach. But just to show you, just control back to the Vikings. You know how many coaches the Vikings have had in the same time frame? 2.
Yeah, and
Since 2014, they've had 2.
Yeah.
The Giants have had 6.
So there was a tweet I saw where a guy put the video clip of Coughlin resigning and walking past Mara, and he said it's never been the same since.
yep.
That's
It
what
hasn't.
That was the tweet. It's never been.
It
the same
hasn't.
since.
It has not
How
I
been
did
the
listened
same.
it go?
Did you guys
Coughlin was
listen to
on-
Coughlin?
Coughlin was on
PMT?
Part of My
Yeah,
Take,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I loved it. It was.
Yeah.
I was so nostalgic. I love that man. I just think he's the best, and he was telling great stories. No, gosh. Ugh.
Yeah,
I
no,
can't-
Bill, no. I would not take
You
Bill.
know,
I would take
the-
Rabel. I would do
The
Rabel.
older generation gets a lot of flack for being hard asses and not caring about players and everything. But if you talk to the players, they would say otherwise. Like you hear about, oh, he's too hard for the modern athlete. He's too this for the modern athlete. Okay, fine. Let's go with some of the softer guys, some of the so-called geniuses, and look how it's going. Sometimes you need a father. You don't need a friend.
Here's my other thing, though. For Dable, if we fired him, I guarantee you next year he would be a head coach on another team.
I don't deny that at all.
could
I don't
guarantee
I don't
it.
have. I have a bigger problem with Shine than I do Dable.
Yeah. Yeah, I like I said, I just it's not even November. I'm so disappointed. Just again. And we have 2 games that I don't know that anyone is going to make. We're trying to sell, the Saints game, and I got the Colts game at the end of the year.
Saints
And it's
game's
like,
winnable. Saints
you guys
game's
are
winnable.
hamstringing us. And like, just so you know, relative price. Let me share this with you. Again, 2 different sports, but there's still some comparison. But I just bought 5 tickets. Like it turns out that the good Lord has blessed us. Lucas and Alexis and Alex will be here the Saturday before Thanksgiving till the day before Thanksgiving. Lucas and Alexis are going to go back home. I looked it up, and that Monday, who happens to be in town to play the Stanley Cup champions, but the Caps. So I went to Lucas and said, we got to go.
Yeah,
So
man.
I bought 5 tickets. Okay, 5 tickets. Take a wild guess at the total price for 5 tickets to go see the Stanley Cup champions with the potential all-time leading goal scorer visiting.
All right, I will put it to you this way. My guess will be intentionally low to make the point.
It's okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Not necessarily what I think, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
5 tickets, I'll say $400.
Drew, you got a guess?
The 400 to 450 range.
So this is with fees, okay? And the fees are like $17 a ticket. So keep that
Wow.
in mind.
Because you do it online.
online.
That's how they get you now.
Like
Yeah.
it's SeatGeek. $228 all in.
You are 17
No,
bucks
the,
each?
The tickets are
For the-
$30 and the fees are
Holy
17.
cow.
$228
Ludicrous.
5 tickets to see the Stanley Cup champions. So,
But that ties into your thoughts on the performance-based ticketing. The
Yeah.
tickets for the Eagles game were more, and I
Yeah.
saw a shittier product.
Exactly.
I paid more to watch
You know what?
shit. I don't
I
know
think
what to do here.
We've got an argument now. I might write this to John Mara. It should be on winnability. So when we're playing tougher teams, the price should be dropped.
I want to see the ESPN
yeah.
probability before the game. I want to see
Exactly.
the 8% to the
I'm
92%
just
for
looking at
the
the betting odds. If the other team money line is minus 300, yeah, they usually be
Yeah.
giving those things away.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Exactly.
insane.
So-
Yeah,
Insane.
because they act like, well, just go to a game of experience. Not when you're getting your tail kicked.
No.
That's an experience.
Terrible experience.
I had that in high school with my head in the toilet. That was the same experience.
Yeah.
For those of you watching, just so you know, on average, to have our 4 tickets for a Giants game, it's 600 and change.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyway,
And
I
that's
could take
4.
I could take 15 people to 3 hockey games. For that price.
I feel like I'm helping Lance with his homework. If you had $600 and you could go to a one Giants game or 15 people at 3 hockey games, which would you do?
What would you do? All right, let's wind it down. So, boys, Lucas and I will give the full report on at least the Pittsburgh experience.
Get the brown bag. We're getting the brown bags out. We're getting on ESPN.
Exactly.
Look for us on ESPN.
Exactly.
We will have brown bags. They say sell the team, or we'll get Jones off the team, or something like that.
In the words of Deadpool, that guy had the right idea. He's wearing the brown pants.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it's funny though. We needed this therapy because this is one of our longest bits yet, and it's off of 2 losses. So. All right, gentlemen. Love you all. We'll do this again. Hopefully, this won't be our last show. I don't know.